detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again for another episode. No Gibbo, no Maddie. I believe Gibbo was having some internet problems. Is that correct?
Yep.
So quite a few people's ears are burning.
Yeah, blowing up on the phone.
Blowing up left and right.
If you've heard anything he's had to say about Rambo, you can imagine you probably wouldn't want to be one of those customer service reps at the moment.
Yeah. I feel sorry for anyone with eye on it currently. It's Christmas time. So we've got back-to-back Christmas flicks to come into the 25th. We're going to start with our action film, which is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from 2005. But before we get to that, Jared, let's do a bit of a whip round. What have we been watching?
Righto.
Give it to me.
I didn't have a lot on the slate. Caught up on yesterday.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
Not bad. Enjoyable enough.
Tonally, she was a bit all over the shop.
It had a few laughs, and I loved the bloke from the old bloke from what was that TV show, the Kumar.
Oh yeah, his father.
He's fucking wandering in the kitchen, going, "You look like Ed Sheeran." Yeah, I am. Good on you. It just kind of keeps walking. Like, he was funny, and there was a few good laughs in there, but they didn't go anywhere near enough with exploring what a world without the Beatles would look like.
Yeah,
they did it a couple of times.
There's one really great scene though with John Lennon.
Yeah, but
which I really liked that. I thought that was a great thing to have, but I wanted more. I wanted to see more of what they were doing. Yeah, what would have happened.
And I've got a few issues over how Lennon was like the fucking Dalai Lama when really he's a bit of a shit of a bloke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But anyway.
Just because he can write a song doesn't make him a top player.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was enjoyable enough.
Yep.
Obviously, I have children, so I did see Frozen 2.
What was it like?
It was all right.
Because my daughter was a bit kind of like,
It was a bit.
It seemed to be a bit hard to understand. There wasn't a lot of villains.
It was definitely a bit harder to access. Oh, I thought it was okay though. It was all right. The kids were definitely a little bit
perplexed
at times, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is. If you like the first one, it's more of the same. It's a little bit more, it is a little bit more complex with the emotions that they're dealing with the main characters and whatever, but it was enjoyable enough. Disney Plus, got onto a bit of Disney Plus and dug up a couple of
old classics.
Mr. Boogedy.
Mr. Boogedy. Yeah,
maybe not an old classic.
Oh, it's definitely not a classic. But yeah, I saw that on there.
Old, fondly remembered TV movies. Perhaps.
I saw them on there.
Yeah, Mr. Boogedy was. I guess it's one. If you had more of an attachment to it when you're a kid, it would hold up more. I didn't necessarily have that attachment, so it was just a bit of a. Yeah, it was a bit of a fun little thing for the kids, maybe. The Black Hole.
What was that like? Because that's taken a lot of heat over the years.
It's
not very good.
It's not all that great. It's pretty dark. They go into some quite dark things without going sort of too much into it. You kind of see where things are going from the get-go, but yeah, in terms of I don't know. It's probably it's got a bit of that Star Wars element for people who like that kind of nihilistic shit.
Right. Should I steer clear of the black hole?
I don't know if I would steer clear of it.
Look, I paid $89 for a year, so I may as well just stumble into it.
Yeah, you may as well just fall into it one afternoon. But yeah, I mean, the good guys are bloody Anthony Perkins and what was the old mate from Breaking Bad that died just recently? Robert Foster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're the good guys. They're a couple of the good guys.
Jesus. Who were the villains?
Casting was spot on.
Yeah.
The villains actually got a little bit of gravitas. Looks something that Maddie would probably enjoy. He does look a little bit like a Demis Roussos or something like that, so Maddie would probably love it, to be honest. I'm up to date with The Mandalorian.
Yep. Still going along all right?
Yeah, look, I'm loving it. A couple of the later episodes have dropped off a little bit. Episode 5 was possibly a little bit too fan servicey. That's been a big complaint, but the story just didn't seem quite as strong. Episode 6 I quite liked. A couple of surprising appearances too, Clancy Brown and Bill Burr.
Right.
And I kind of liked the episode, but the big complaint about that one has been that you start the episode and end the episode with the two kind of characters that you're wanting to develop just in exactly the same place they were when they started, which I 100% agree with, but the episode was fun nonetheless. So, yeah, I'd recommend it. I really enjoy the series. The other one is I finished up the finale of Castle Rock.
Yep. Gem? Or did it fall off a little?
Look, the Annie Wilkes stuff was fantastic. Loved the Annie Wilkes stuff. Loved it. And it starts to really tie into Misery down the stretch. But the problem is the big kind of twists and the big stories they set up elsewhere just went off with a whimper.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend it because I think the episodes that centred around Annie Wilkes' backstory and a lot of the moments you got with her throughout the series were excellent. Kind of sympathetic at parts.
Yeah.
But also developing into where she got to with Misery. But the stuff that they kind of started to put together was really exciting. As I said to you, it kind of recontextualised Series 1 a little bit.
Yep.
And it just got left hanging again. So that was a bit frustrating, especially given that there's no guarantee yet that there's going to be a season 3.
Yeah.
If it gets left, it's just going to be. It seems like perhaps they were doing the same thing, saving this arc to tie into whatever's planned for Series 3. But yeah, it just went away with a whimper. So that was a bit frustrating, but I would highly recommend it for the Annie Wilkes stuff anyway.
Okay.
And the last one I saw was The Addams Family.
Was that any good?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Really enjoyed it. It was, the kids liked it. A couple of nice little nods to the series. Its own little thing. It's it's not going to set the world on fire, but if you liked The Addams Family when you were younger, and I certainly did, I remember our grandfather used to whip The Addams Family on the black and white TV, so I didn't know if it was colour anyway. So we used to, watch a bit of that and have a bit of a laugh. So there was a kind of familiarity to it that I really enjoyed. And it's a gateway thing for the kids. I mean, my son he's 8 now, and he was watching it, and there was a little gag in regards to Pennywise. And he turned around to me and he's like, hey, that's a little bit of a joke. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you probably shouldn't know that. But hey, I'm kind of proud in a way.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was me. That was all.
That was you covered.
All of it. Yep.
All right, I watched the Confession Tapes, Season 2. Nowhere near as good as the first season.
No.
For me, at all. In fact, some of them I was kind of like, I'm not really sure who's in the role.
Yeah. The episode with the kayaker?
Yeah.
That was a bad one.
That sucked.
Yeah.
But also, the funny one about that one was, surely that's getting thrown out the moment the kayak specialist says it would take a very large amount of work to sink that boat by taking the little plug out. You'd have to paddle like it was going out of fashion. That's really the answer to that one, and it kind of didn't have much going for it. The one that I found very interesting was the second one, where that girl and the young bloke just broke into that house and killed everybody with a shotgun, and they basically pinned it on two brothers who seem to have absolutely zero connection with anything.
Well, that was the one. That's one of those ones where, I've said it before, but that's one of those ones where it scares me. Like, I just hope I'm never in a confession room with the blokes that are on those fucking videos.
Yeah.
Because they just won't hear anything other than...
let's be honest.
That's the thing. That's the technique that they've been taught.
Yeah.
If you think this is a guy, you fucking hammer them.
But the fact is, though, all you got to say is, I want a lawyer. I just noticed that a lot of people in these situations don't.
A lot of them think they're helping.
Ask for a lawyer? Yeah, they say, I'm here to help. But the moment you think that you're...
Where were you at this time?
Yeah, the moment you think that perhaps they're talking to you about your involvement.
But if I recall correctly, some of the people in that series did.
Yeah,
and then they were denied.
Yeah.
Remember the one that was taken to a fucking back shed?
Yeah. So
he asked for a lawyer a couple of times or whatever.
And that was the first episode in the season.
The guy went outside and started pretending he was calling his daughter, and that she was going to get rolled up for the crime.
Yeah,
like that sort of shit is scary.
Yeah, that's right. And look, it all sounds like I just asked for a lawyer, but you just never know how these people are going to play it. There's some scum in some of those coppers over there were fucking shit ass.
Well, the one that appears in the episode about the brothers, who still fucking swears up and down that they did it.
So but look at that though.
What about the evidence?
She's going, I've never seen him before. Look closely, look closely, look closely. What the fuck?
What about the evidence, mate? No, it was them. That scumbag's out walking the streets.
It's just,
Who's the scumbag?
Yeah, exactly. I watched the movies that made us, the Die Hard episode.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really well done, but nothing that I didn't already know. Mm-hmm. I found it very amusing that they had to ask Frank Sinatra the role first because he had been in the previous, the original story, the character that was in the book.
Yep.
So, imagine
if Frankie had held his ground and said, no, I'm in.
And they're all going, Frankie, come on. And they would have just bought him out. They would have just paid him off. There was one thing I couldn't find.
We're talking about a world without the Beatles. What about talking about a world where Frankie holds out and makes sure that he's in Die Hard?
The one thing that they didn't quite fully explain was they kept saying Bruce Willis was a TV actor. He'd had a couple of credits. They'd both been duds, and his agent sitting there going, "So I asked for $5 million." I'm like, what? How did we get to $5 million? So basically, you're telling me the guy was poisoned. He was poisoned, and you're asking $5 million. And it didn't even actually say that Joel Silver went, what the fuck? He just kind of said, then I just rang Bruce and said, yeah, we got it. So that was kind of strange because it didn't really explain how we got to $5 million.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple of scenes missing from this story. Ask for $5 million, scene missing, Bruce, we got it.
But it was good. It was still enjoyable. Yeah, not as good as the toys.
There's definitely a cocaine-fueled party there somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Promises were made, pictures were taken.
Now, Jared, while I was cleaning up my my bookshelf, I came across some of my old comics and graphic novels that I'd bought, and I know I had Whiteout.
Yeah.
So I said, I remember thinking to myself, there was a movie of Whiteout, wasn't there?
Yeah. So
I jumped on Netflix. Boom, there it was. It was shit house. There are a couple of sequences that were awesome. Imagine the thrill, the sequences where they're trying to she's trying to get away from a killer, and they're on those ropes out in the muddy in a snowstorm. Where if you let go, you're fucked. That was tense. That shit. It was really well done. But I think they actually tried to combine the two different, because there was two Whiteout graphic novels. Mm-hmm. I think they tried to combine the two of them together, and they cocked it up because it was pretty flat. Other than those couple of scenes, Kate Beckinsale was fine. I've always liked Kate Beckinsale. I thought she was pretty good in it, but the rest of it was just a shambles, mate. It was all over the shop. So chalk that up as
read that. You may bring that one over.
Yeah, I might bring it over.
Then I'll watch the shitty adaptation as well.
A mate of mine put me onto an Australian show called No Activity.
Yep.
Piss funny,
yeah.
Including this absolutely hilarious sequence involved, because the whole idea is they're just sitting around doing nothing. Two coppers watching a drug stakeout, and all they ever do is talk shit.
It's one of Stan's few originals.
But they also they've got the two coppers, but then they cut away to the two crims waiting in and it's Acco and another bloke that we've seen a million times, and they have this conversation about imagine coming out as a gay footballer, and it just balloons, and it's just piss funny because Acco and that, Acco, as you know him, as that sort of, and he's here talking about, they're definitely in love and all this sort of stuff. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, the US version's on there too, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's still got the Australian bloke, because there was one episode that had the guy he was in The Mummy and he was in New Girl. He was in the car with him. Because he was an FBI agent. And so I think what's happened is maybe they've done a
bit back and forth.
Yeah. Because I think Tim Meadows is in there.
Tim Meadows. I think Will Ferrell might have popped up in episodes. And
it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Now, let's get to the big boppers here. I watched Six Underground. Look, I'm going to come out straight and say, Bay is still a director that has made some good pictures
Are you
for
selling
me.
your barrels of McGee and purchasing Bay?
No, I'm not purchasing Bay. The guy shoots realistic stunts, so I love all that. But he's just he's lost the plot, mate. Netflix have given him $150 million to just run riot.
Yeah.
And that's what he's done. The script is fucking crap. It is terrible. And they keep trying to integrate these sequences of emotion, and it falls so flat because it's just been bayed up to the max.
Can I just toss out another thing here? So, outside of Deadpool, right? Ryan Reynolds has now got this, and he's coming up with Free Guy, which I liked the idea of.
Yeah.
But seeing the preview, not so liking the idea of what's going on.
Look,
Ryan Reynolds, outside of those two things, is really struggling.
No, but see, Reynolds, you can guarantee they gave him 20 mil.
I know, but he's
the
not
only
making-
reason he-
Hear me out. He's not making you 20 mil.
I know.
Ever.
I don't understand.
Outside of Deadpool, his resume is disappointment after disappointment, and I love the guy.
Yeah, I do. And he was even somewhat enjoyable in this. The
Is
thing
he a
that
second fiddle?
in this,
No, is he?
yeah, he's definitely he's a
He's gotta
second
have a
fiddle.
bankable-
Other than in Deadpool,
Yeah.
like any Deadpool movie, of course. But he's the kind of guy who can give you plenty as a second man.
He did show up in Hobbs and Shaw and was quite amusing.
Yeah. The problem with this movie is there are kernels of interesting shit in here, and these movies work. It is obvious that there is an audience for this. Look at Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
This is what this is. But Mission Impossible does it so well because they don't shake the camera every time something comes near it.
Yeah, when we're watching the action scenes, we can go, there's Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
There's the person that's chasing you.
Yeah, exactly. And they're convoluted and a little bit silly, but you at least know roughly the plot. I couldn't make head nor tail of this. There is nothing that tells me that anybody read this script and said, definitely, I want to make this movie. I mean, the script's a fucking hodgepodge of nothingness. It is based around 3 or 4 massive action scenes that go for 25 minutes a piece. And I don't know Michael Bay. He's probably a lovely bloke. But judging by his movies, he strikes me as
Megan Fox, he's not.
well, judging by his movies, he strikes me as the kind of guy who goes around flicking people's dicks and getting them in headlocks and, you know, farting in their faces and things like that. He strikes me as a frat boy.
Yeah. Party at Bay's house.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Yeah, party at Bay's house, you know. It's just, he strikes me as that. He just, nobody's got a leash on him for this.
I still can't go past Ben Affleck on the Armageddon commentary.
What?
When he's asking him about,
He'll drill it.
why don't you just teach astronauts how to drill? Fuck off, Ben. Okay. Yeah, that's
But
what we're dealing with.
Think about this. Armageddon is grossly over the top and is shot in classic Bay style, but it works.
Yeah, I'm still on Armageddon.
You were
Island.
saying it was gold when we
Yeah,
did
I'm
the
still
Bruce
on
Willis
Armageddon
thing.
Island. I'm still there.
You said, "Oh, on a given day, it's a gold."
Yeah, you better watch it again because I don't want to stay on this island.
But Bay is capable of taking all those elements and working them well enough to get your emotions pumping and shit, even though he's going overboard with all the fancy stuff in the directorially.
Yeah.
But he's capable. But he's just, Netflix have just let him go, and it's, I don't know how they judge it being a success either.
How do you reckon Michael Bay would go on a Blumhouse picture when Jason Blum's saying we've got to chip away 15 million from this scene?
No, he goes,
chip away 20.
You've got 10 million, and Michael goes, I can't do it for that, mate.
Yeah,
I cannot do it for that. I can do it for 50. And look, I'm not writing Bay fully off because you know what? Pain and Gain was only what?
Yeah,
5 years ago, and it was
really good.
fucking awesome. I
He's still
loved
got,
it.
whatever else, he's still got Armageddon on the resume.
The Rock.
Still got The Rock. Still got
Even Bad Boys.
So,
And the thing about it is Pain and Gain played to his strengths, and it worked. Partially because of the material, but it played to that kind of high octane sort of stuff he does,
but
and it was really well.
It also had some fun characters.
Yeah, this has no characters. Like you couldn't give. There's a sequence where they try and make out like things are getting emotional because one of them might die, and I'm just like, who is he? He's a cardboard cutout. Yeah, and you can't have that in this sort of stuff.
No.
But there is an audience for it, and I'd suggest it's probably going to be a hit for Netflix.
Well, it'll go gangbusters because you've told everyone not to watch it, but that'll just make us watch it anyway. I'll sit here and have a look at that tonight, and then...
the last one for me was Black Christmas.
I'm very interested to hear about this one. I'll probably check it out tomorrow, hopefully.
There is some interesting stuff here,
yep.
And the message is... I liked, but it was so heavy-handed... And the ending is fucking ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. And...
Are we talking... are we in Supernatural Killer realm?
We are. We're in cut room. We're in cut territory. Kind of. And you know what? The movie's made for $5 million. It's classic Blumhouse, mate. It's made for $5 million. It's going to make $25 million.
Yep.
So they'll make profit. And you can see why. It needed some gore. It doesn't have any, which is a mistake.
It was PG-13, wasn't it?
Yeah. You need something.
Yeah.
There was a couple of nice sequences. Certainly one early on that I liked. And it did sort of touch on some of the stuff that was in the original, but just sort of repurposed. Like the phone calls, but they're now done with sort of texts and things like that. And I thought that was okay. And I'm actually a really big fan of Imogen Poots, who's the star, and she was good. But the film is just... I liked the message and I thought it was a good place to go, but it just was so heavy-handed and so... They were just banging you over the head with it. And then they try and... When they bring the big reveal at the end, it's just like, oh, my God. You know, this is where we've gotten to. So it's not... I mean, you definitely have to check it out, but it wouldn't be high on my re-watching list, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
All right, that's everything for me. All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2005's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Let's go. Hurry up. It's not my fault. Just shut up and run.
Hold it right there.
Harry was a small-time crook.
Oh, boy.
Till he opened the door
Oh, no, we're not ready for your audition.
Just take him. He's ready. You ready, right?
to a really big break.
Quit acting like the good guy. You got your partner killed. You killed him.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Old school method. Get me Gay Perry on the phone.
But he'll need a real cop
Detective lessons tomorrow for your acting.
Oh, you're the consultant.
if he wants to act the part.
You must be
Gay Perry?
still gay?
Me? No. I just like the name so much I can't get rid of it.
So what do you do?
I'm a private detective. She thinks I'm a detective.
Of all the idiot things to do.
My sister was
Honey,
murdered. Are you going to help me?
I gotta check my schedule.
Can you help me, Harry? Because if you're not going to help me, find somebody else.
So sometimes I have other. My caseload is pretty.
Thank you.
From Shane Black, the creator of Lethal Weapon,
Do not play detective. Moron. Go home before the bad guys do something bad to you.
2 corpses in 3 hours. I mean, that's unusual, right?
Yes.
comes a mystery.
It's a frame up. First things first. Do you have the corpse?
I got rid of it.
You threw it away. Look up idiot in the dictionary. You know what you'll find?
A picture of me?
No. The definition of the word idiot.
That starts with a kiss.
Why'd you lie to me?
It was an excuse to stay around you, so I mean, I think.
Did I just cut off your finger?
Yeah. It's on the floor. Pick it up. Pick it up.
And ends with a bang.
Where is the girl?
You put a live round in that gun.
Oh, yeah. There was like an 8% chance.
Who taught you math?
Robert Downey Jr.,
What do you think? I'm stupid?
Val Kilmer,
Yes. I think you're stupid.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh, hell.
Kiss me. What? Kiss me.
No.
doesn't suck.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from 2005. Written and directed by Shane Black, who gave us Lethal Weapon, and it's based in part on a novel by Brett Halliday. It's produced by Joel Silver, who produced The Matrix and Sherlock Holmes. It stars Robert Downey Jr. as Harry Lockhart, Val Kilmer as Gay Perry, and Michelle Monaghan as Harmony Faith Lane. The budget was $15 million, and the box office was 15.7 worldwide. Now, in the trivia, it said that Johnny Knoxville was set to star as Harry Lockhart.
I read that.
Before being replaced by Robert Downey Jr. Well, was Lockhart going to get his gooch
Well, maybe that's
shocked or something?
Maybe that's where the bloody electrocution of the testicles came from. Maybe that was Knoxville's input. He'd say, "I'll do it for real."
yeah.
Just
I know,
wind
he
me up.
actually attached them. Okay, mate,
All right.
what would you take?
I actually hadn't seen this.
Hadn't you?
Funnily enough.
Wow.
Look, it's got classic Shane Black hallmarks. It's probably not as... It doesn't have as many like memorable lines or memorable scenes as some of his other work, but it's kind of consistently solid all the way through.
Yeah.
Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer are fantastic.
Yep.
And I would love to see Downey Jr. in another Shane Black type sort of nice guys sort of setup or something like that, because he just fits it so well. It was a little bit muddled a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like there were so many twists and turns that a couple of times it was just a bit muddled, and you got lost in it anyway because it was all just this crackling dialogue with Downey Jr. and these little scenes going on that sometimes you lost what was actually happening. But it's great fun from top to bottom, and it's not that far removed from The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
The Nice Guys is very similar to this, but probably a little more streamlined and allowing it to just focus on the characters and not worry about all the twists and turns so much. I reckon I'd probably go 3.5. I really enjoyed it. It was good. It's
Nice
another sort
Guys
of
is a little bit funnier too.
Yeah, I think Nice Guys is funnier.
Because some of those sequences are really funny. And there actually steals a couple from this that go into The Nice Guys later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go 3.5. It's highly enjoyable, and the first half hour is great stuff. Like, I was really invested in the first half hour. It gets a little bit flat, a bit slow in the middle, and the detective stuff, it's pretty standard. The detective angle that, and the whole, we've got two cases converging and all that sort of stuff. It's all very standard sort of detective stuff.
I did sort of like him talking about the setup, and you knew what was coming, and then he'd try to twist it a little bit. But yeah, it was what you expected in terms of the detective.
Yeah, there was nothing really new about it.
Yeah.
But overall, the dialogue's great. The actors are really good. It's a winner, really. So I agree with you. Not quite. The dialogue's not quite as easily requotable like some of
there's
these
not
other
as
ones.
many sort of... Even a movie that probably doesn't have as consistent a dialogue of Shane Black's kind of resume, I don't know, maybe something like even The Last Boy Scout probably isn't as consistent,
No.
but it's got a couple of absolute crackers that you can kind of...
That everyone
quotable
remembers,
lines that everyone remembers.
whereas this one doesn't.
Yeah, and that's... I don't know, maybe it's a Downey Jr. kind of staple, because Downey Jr. is kind of constantly talking so much, and what he's saying all through is quality stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just kind of gets lost in a bigger picture of things, I suppose.
Well, to kick off the lights for me, I just love that kind of noir style.
Yeah.
Even though it was set present day, so to speak.
Yep.
It had all those little hallmarks. It felt like a 50s detective thing, from the opening credits to the narration to the old school music.
Yeah.
Names like Gay Perry, Harlan Dexter, Harry Lockhart. They all sound like old detectives from the 50s.
Yep.
The whole plot point about the old detective novels.
Yeah, it's great.
All that stuff's really cool, and it's really well woven into the fabric of it.
I actually think, like, building on that, I think the LA setting was great too, because it still sort of fits.
Yeah.
Still, those characters still fit in that setup of, film producers and the parties that they're having and the schemes that they're running. And, there's a lot of elements where you can weave that same sort of stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely. Kilmer, Downey Jr. and Michelle Monaghan are all excellent. Downey Jr. and Kilmer together is golden. I mean, it strikes off each other perfectly. And I've got a dislike to them two as well, but it's actually more because Kilmer kind of disappears
for a little while. Yeah. No, they're fantastic. Like Downey Jr. is just kind of magnetic, and they always talk about how this was a point where he'd started to sort of clean up a little bit, and this was kind of the build up to Iron Man, and you can see it. Like the guy is just uber talented. It just seems effortless.
Yeah.
You know, the scenes where he's got to play like when his mate's just been shot, and then he's got to play the script that's saying the same thing. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys where you could just say, just talk and try and punch this scene up a bit, and you guarantee that he could do it.
Yeah, that's right. And he is fantastic. But Kilmer gets my golden...
He's the MVP?
Yeah, he is... He's really, really good in this role, and it's kind of sad to think that he doesn't get work.
Well, I look at it and I'm like, it's a shame that you appear to be such an asshole that you can't get work when you act like this.
Yeah.
Because your acting is so good.
It is sad.
Which must mean you are a real asshole. You are a right prick if you can act like this, but nobody wants you around.
Yeah, that's right. You're walking around Bay's parties, bloody grabbing balls and stuff. He won't even have you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Bay's going, listen, get rid of Kilmer.
Kicked out of Bay's parties. Kilmer's here. Oh, fucking hell.
He was on the list. He's not out in here. Dialogue is great.
Yeah.
It is good. I mean, I could not stop laughing about like that whole sequence with Native American Joe Pesci, Brazilian Billy Bob Thornton, and did you catch a punk rock Steven Seagal?
Yeah, punk rock Steven Seagal, brilliant.
That sort of stuff is just gold. There's also a piss funny one where Downey says to Kilmer early on, "So you still gay?" He goes, no, I'm knee deep in pussy, but I just love the name.
Yeah, that's right. I actually really liked that Kilmer was getting like they were throwing all these gay gags at him. In another movie, you would have been looking at that going, "Oh, this is very ordinary." But you're watching this, and it's clear that Shane Black's like, yeah, they're making all the gay jokes, but Kilmer's just throwing them all back.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of, in a way, it's taking on all the kind of stereotypes and just turning them on their head.
Well, it's funny because I actually think having a gay PI, again, it just circumvents the usual detective tropes just a little.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really good to have, because Kilmer was still the guy in charge. He was still, kicking ass. He was, it didn't change anything about him as a detective.
Yeah.
And I really like that. It's just that he was gay.
Yep.
That was it. And it was just, they made a few gags about it, but as you say, Kilmer's character was just like...
A couple of times they made the off-colour gags, and then Kilmer kind of...
Yeah, just went with
threw
it
him back.
And threw him back. And I really like that.
There's still a couple of times where you could say, oh, yeah, that was a little bit clumsy, but for the most part, I think it works fine. And the important thing for me is that it changes nothing about the character.
Exactly.
It's not like he's like, oh, we've got the gay character, but I've got to play all the stereotypes. It's the exact opposite of that. It's just Kilmer doing a little bit of, Kilmer with a few eccentricities, which is just Kilmer by the sound of it. And then... It's like, but everyone else is making it an issue, and he's just like deflecting it.
Some fucking awesome movies too, and given some rock solid performances.
Oh, fucking oath.
I mean, Tombstone. We need to get Tombstone on here.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, I need it.
Yeah, it's a real shame that he just can't get over himself.
Yeah. I love that chick with that part of the party where that girl goes, I do a little bit of acting, and it cuts to her having sex with getting a head ripped off.
Yeah, getting a head ripped off by what looks like a bloody a pig man of some sort.
Okay, so that's one of her parts.
Piss funny. Yeah. Is it wrong that I was looking at that going, oh, geez, I'd watch that movie?
Yeah, I immediately went, what's that called? What's that film called? I need to find it. I like some of the self-referential. There's the film, the things where he talks and stops the film, and he talks about things that are happening, and then goes, "All right, I've got to go backwards and tell you something else that I missed."
Yeah.
And then gee, that was kind of a shit narration. Like it's kind of real self-referential about what's going on, and it's part of the detective. The hard-boiled detective type of thing.
I know some of the reviews I looked at thought it was a bit too kind of wink at the audience, but I
kind of found it fine.
I think it's just, I don't know, I think it was just Downey Jr. is so, he just gets you so caught up in it that sometimes you don't even think about that stuff.
I believe we get a Thrill Me.
We do.
Yeah.
We get a Thrill Me from Kilmer.
Yeah, Kilmer says Thrill
You
Me.
got 30 seconds of my time, Thrill Me.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit. That's obviously a bit of a nod to, I think Shane Black's a mate of Fred Decker.
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Certainly thrilled us, Val.
Yes, you
If
did.
you could get back to doing that, that'd be much appreciated.
I love that sequence where Downey tries to play Russian roulette with the bloke and then just shoots him in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, I only put one bullet in there.
Yeah, that was really gold. And he's like, it's an 8% chance. And Kilmer's like, who taught you to do math? And the funny thing is that Kilmer starts, I think he makes a phone call and you come back and Downey's still there going, 8, 12, it's 8%. Like, he's still fucking going through it. Yeah, it was really funny. There was a couple of, even going back, I actually had written down that I laughed at Protocop dressing up and cracking a beer. Why, that visual just cracked me up.
Just fell out the window and died.
Standing there cracking open a beer and then, it just falls out the window. But more similar sort of Downey stuff of at the start when the guy's touching up Michelle Monaghan at the party. he starts telling him, just get out of here. And then the guy's like, I'll kick the shit out of you. And he's like, he just sort of talks him down. The delivery from Downey is so good that you buy it. You're like, he's a crook.
Next scene.
Yeah, you're like, he's a crim. He's talking it up here, he's confident, whatever. The next thing, he's on the ground getting the shit kicked out of him. And I was just like, I laughed so hard because the way that they crafted the scene and Downey's acting was so good, you just kind of went with it. He's just getting belted out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
there is
man.
also a very funny piece of dialogue where Harmony says to him when they first meet in the bar, and she's looking over at the other chick, and she's like, she's done a couple of bit parts. She has had sex with more blokes than she's had hot dinners.
Yeah.
Oh, she's had dinners, and Daddy goes, it was neck and neck, and she skipped lunch.
Yep. Yeah, he's got some really good lines in there. And Kilmer, you remember the one where Kilmer says to him, if you look up idiot in the dictionary, what do you find? And
A picture of me?
There, picture of me? No, you'll find the definition of idiot, which you are.
The torture scene where Daddy's having his balls zapped and Kilmer is just egging the bloke on going, look at him, he can't even look at me. And Daddy's there going, ah!
Wasn't he getting poked in the kidneys or something?
Yeah,
Someone was poking him in the
poking him in the kidneys. And for me,
man.
my last like was the actual ending, the finale, where he's hanging from the corpse's arm and the gun slides down and he starts shooting everyone.
Yeah.
That was nicely handled because the movie's not particularly action-packed.
Yeah.
It's
What
not
does Corbin Burnson say? Says something like fucking Captain Magic or something.
Yeah, that's right. But it's well handled and it's quite well directed.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not a big action film, but that kind of sequence just ties things up really nicely.
Yeah. I also like in the ending where Kilmer comes in and talks to Michelle Monaghan about her sister.
Yeah.
And he sort of says, no, she did kill herself. Like,
Yeah.
that was I don't know, it just wrapped things up quite nicely. It took the elements of the hard boiled detective stuff and put the twist on it.
Yeah.
It was a little more because he'd gone with a little more of that seedier tone just briefly early on about her sister.
Yeah.
And then kind of wrapped it up, and he kind of gives you the spin of, it's a bit more. I don't know. It is a bit more. I don't know what the word is, but it's kind of taking elements that weren't included in that, kind of grounding them a little bit more in reality.
Yeah.
Even though it's very far removed from reality.
And look, there was a bit of strange stuff in it, but I think it kind of worked. Like the bit where he gets his finger cut off.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
seems
yeah, the
very
henchman.
red.
Ike, Mike, and Mustard.
Yeah.
The other guys there going, what the fuck does that mean? What are you talking about? That sort of stuff was making me laugh pretty consistently.
Yeah. But those scenes, even though they were a little bit weird,
Yeah.
they kind of worked because the finger cutting scene, he then has it stitched back on and it's ripped off like 5 minutes later.
Right.
You know, like
what about the the timing of when Harmony drops that she slept with Chuck Chutney?
yeah, that's right.
Brilliant.
You slept with Chuck Chutney.
Because then, it's going for the cliche moment, and then she just drops it, and it cuts to the door. Oh, you slept with I can talk about comic timing. I was keeled over laughing heavily at that.
I didn't have any other big likes.
No, that was it for me.
Now, dislikes.
Not a long list.
No, not a long list, but the middle section is a bit slow. Yeah. When they start putting the two cases together and sort of coming to this conclusion as to what really happened,
yeah,
it's a little bit slower. The pacing goes down a little bit. We lose Kilmer for a portion of that.
For quite a while.
Which hurts it.
The less time he's... the more time he's removed from it, the film is sort of lacking for it.
Yeah. Because him and Downey Jr. bounce off each other really well. And that's not a knock on Michelle Monaghan, because her and Downey are good together as well. But it's a different dynamic.
Yeah. You wonder whether if you had like a Nice Guys sort of setup where they spent as much time as those two did together.
Be similar.
Could have been really...
Yeah, that's right. Good. So, and that's kind of what the Nice Guys gets right.
Yeah.
It has his daughter as kind of like the second fiddle, but she's not in it as much as... say in this, but that's because they kind of had to have that whole relationship between the two of them, Monahan and Downey Jr.,
which is kind of essential.
Yeah, you need it.
Movie's called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Exactly. So you can see why Kilmer steps away, but unfortunately his
absence is felt.
It is felt. And
I actually felt
I'm sure not a lot of people say that about Kilmer.
Normally it's his absence is fucking celebrated. Kilmer's left, fucking fantastic.
And I've got two more. The second half of the film, although still enjoyable, is much straighter. It's not as comedic. It's not as funny. It diverts away from the humour into a more straightforward detective style thing that's not as funny.
Yeah.
And not that I feel that hurts, but for me it did, because that first half hour I was laughing my ass off and loving it.
Yeah.
And then it just takes a little bit of a move away.
Takes a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually felt, even at the start, it's a little bit tangled up. Like working through all the backstory to get everything together. Like it's engaging to watch, but it means that really the things that set everything in motion don't really happen till almost the half hour mark. So it's, I don't know, it might be a product of Downey Jr. and co being so good.
Yeah.
That you can't cut some of the shit that they do. Like they're just so interesting to watch.
Yeah,
it's weird to say, but I think one of the big things about the movie is that the plot kind of gets lost because those guys are so good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just kind of lost as to
it's
where
all happening, and the
caught
same thing kind of happens a little bit
forth.
with the Nice Guys as well. But in the Nice Guys
also had the really strange plot about the car bloke, didn't it?
Yeah, the whole
the bloke that was the bloody car,
the catalytic converter and all that shit. Yeah. But the thing about the Nice Guys that worked more in its favour was you still had Gosling and Crowe on screen together. So I remember watching the Nice Guys and going, what the hell's happening again? But I was just wrapped up in the two of them just bantering with each other.
Yeah.
And this, because Kilmer disappears for a while, the banter then disappears. And they try and pick it up with her and him.
And it's not quite as good.
But it's not quite as good.
It has a couple of moments, but just Val Kilmer is so good.
Yeah.
Like him and Downey. There's some points where Downey's taking a back seat to Kilmer.
Yeah. Kilmer's doing all the...
Which is not easy to do, I wouldn't think.
And as I said earlier on, the case they're investigating is pretty standard stuff. It's not greatly... it seems like they're trying to weave in interesting twists and all this sort of stuff, but they're not great twists. You know, like I'm not walking away from it going, geez, I didn't see that coming. It's just kind of like two cases kind of come together, and it's just a little.
Some of them you see coming. Some of the twists are all right.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them, you just kind of, you almost don't bother to try and pick up the clues.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, there's so many coming that I'm just going to go for the ride and focus on what's happening.
And I think that's kind of the best way to watch the film. Is just kind of let it unfold and not worry about, trying to work it out. Because it's not one to be worked out. It's just kind of like unfolds for you. Yeah. And it's a little bit tangled, and it's a little bit not greatly, it doesn't grip you as a case. But overall, it's kind of passable, like you can accept it.
Yeah.
I didn't really have anything else.
No, that was pretty much it for me. I didn't have a whole lot of dislikes, to be honest.
No. I found it very engaging for the most part. The most interesting thing for me is that looking at this and reading the trivia, Joel Silver has basically... This guy is one of my favourite writers. Without Joel Silver, the guy can't get a movie made.
Yeah.
I mean, Lethal Weapon, it was his first movie.
Yep.
Nobody would have a bar of it until Joel Silver
picked it up.
And the same with The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
He'd had that in the background, and Silver might have already had his claws on that one for a while, because I think that script had been around for a while.
Yep.
But, this bloke he seems to not be able to he has trouble getting these films made.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably because they're not in the classic mould of something that people in multiplexes want to see.
I don't know how you couldn't go into some of these and just sit back and have a good time, though, which is what you go to the movies for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because this one, I read that in the US at least, it got to like 160 screens or 170 screens or something, and that was it.
Yeah. Seems like a bit of a, especially on a 15 million budget.
Yeah.
Crank out a couple of thousand screens, and you probably make some money on this. And The Nice Guys was a bit the same. I think they put that on a lot more cinemas, but it didn't exactly blow up.
No.
Which is disappointing.
Which is a shame, because it's so good.
Yeah.
We definitely have to do that.
Yeah, definitely. So, I really enjoyed it. That's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is, I hadn't seen it in a lot of years, and I'd kind of forgotten it. Basically, I knew it was there, but I remember thinking it's kind of a lesser one.
Well, it kind of got overlooked in his canon for a long time until the whole Iron Man stuff, right?
Yeah. See, it seems like Black takes, certainly in his since Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, now he's come back, because he went AWOL for 10 years. He puts out a project like this that he's really passionate about, but then he takes Iron Man 3, The Predator, there.
Well, fuck, after The Predator, I'm assuming that he wishes he had a fucking spaceship to fly away from as well.
Yeah. I still want to know what their initial script was.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that.
No. Well, the ending. We already know the ending had like 3 or 4 other things that were possible that were far better.
But I think the entire thing would have been different. I think, from what I've read, the ending wouldn't have been any of those. It would have been something else, because the entire film had
the whole film is
totally different package about halfway through, I think.
But even then, if you get the worst film and you still go with the shit ending, what's happened here?
They really screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah.
All right, that is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes and Spotify. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at Thrill Me Podcast AU. Our next episode is a bit of an interesting one. Another Christmas flick. It's 2017's Anna and the Apocalypse, and I believe it has got some musical numbers in it.
It is a
musical. So we're very much outside of our comfort zone in this case. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.